Good morning. You are most welcome on my channels. Let us see what is the atrocity of the Islamic kingdom throughout the world. So first, let us now we see that in the beginning of the Islam, it was originated from the Arab. That is, the Muhammad Sahib born in Petra. It is definite that there was no city Makkah at the time of Prophet Muhammad Sahib. So Prophet was born in Petra, the southern Jordan now, and the king of the Jordan is the nearest relative to the Prophet Muhammad. So when the Islam came to Iraq and Iran in the Caliphate dynasty, they destroyed all the Zoroastrian temples which are known as Pars in India, and all the minarets of the Zoroastrian temples were replaced by the minarets of the mosques of the Islamic doctrine. And due to this, due to the Mali Ghanima, all the minarets of the far temples of the Zoroastrians were changed into the mosque tomb. The more than 20,000 fire temples were destroyed by these fanatic Muslims in the tenure of the Caliphate. So now our main topic was destruction were made by these fanatic Islamic Muslims in India. When Muhammad ibn Qasim came to India and in Deval, Karachi, first he destroyed the first temple of the Hindu temple in Deval, now known as the Karachi, and he took away two daughters of the Raza Dahir after killing the Raza Dahir, Parimal Devi and Surya Devi, to the caliphates as the Damascus, because at that time the capital of the caliphate was the Damascus, now is the Syria capital. So this vulgarity and this treacherousness and heinous crime were committed by since origin of Islam, and even Muhammad Sahib and his followers were doing the same treacherous job as killing of the Jews and enslaved their children and women as war captives, and these Jews women were distributed among the soldiers of the Muhammad Sahib or either sold to the open market in the Damascus or Nazar. You see, the people say that Muhammad did not commit any sin or did not attack any Jewish tribe. This is totally wrong. Always Muhammad attacked on the Jewish tribe, and in the case of the Banu Qurayza, there was no fault of the Banu Qurayza, but Banu Qurayza tribe people gave him many instruments or appliances to dug the trench in the north side of the Medina for the safeguard of attack from the Quraysh tribe leader Abu Sufyan. Or when the Makkah was in the south of the Medina, as you see in the map, then what need of the dug out the trench in the north? Because in the north there is a Jordan, not a Makkah. So it seems that Abu Sufyan Quraysh tribe was the dwellers of the southern Jordan, and the Dan Gibson now proved this, that there was no Makkah at the time of Prophet Muhammad birth time, but it was the Petra, the city nearby the Petra where the Muhammad Prophet was born. So Makkah is not the birth city of Muhammad Sahib. This is the great illusion or paranoia that Muhammad Sahib born in Makkah. No, this is totally wrong and totally misunderstanding among the Muslims. Makkah was not in origin up to 400, 740 AD. The Makkah was first came in existence in the 8th century. So there is no question to birth of Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad in Makkah. The birthplace of Muhammad was the Petra or the another or the southern Jordan, and the tribe Quraysh tribe dwellings nearby the Petra about 21 miles from the Petra city, and all the Qiblas, the direction of Qiblas were towards the Petra, not Petra, but to Jerusalem, because Jerusalem is the holy place for the Muslims, as they want this Al-Aqsa Masjid from the Jews. Primarily, Al-Aqsa Mosque is not a mosque, but is the synagogue of Jews, because Judaism is prior to the Islam. So he can say there is many 420 incident in the history of the Islam, and history of the Islam was distracted or distorted by these Muslim historian, and in India the leftist or communist, just like the Romila Thapar and the Irfan Hanavi, Jaduna Sarkar, all these communist or leftist historians distorted our history so much that the Mughals or the Islamic king is so highlighted by these historians that the Hindus are demoralized by such historians. So let us see, when the minarets of the fire temples and synagogues were converted into the tomb of the mosque, same treacherous work or heinous crime done by these Islamic fanatics kings in India. And I see many of our Indian lecturer or professor as Ratan Lal comment, commented on the shivling. What is the problem with the shivling or the Hindu temples? Because Hindu never distorted the temples or minarets or mosque of the Muslims or even synagogues or fire temples. There was a history, the attack on any Islamic country by Hindus. But why these people, just like Ratan Lal, are criticizing the Hindu religion as a sibling? Even he did not know what is the meaning of the sibling. Sibling is a formless god, Lord Shiva statue. So sibling is not which Ratan Lal has listened or has understood. This is not the link. This is the formless or Nirakar form of Lord Shiva. Then what is the itching of these people, so-called communist people? They are always itching their anus to screaming that against the Hinduism. What problem from Hinduism these peoples? Whenever if the Hindus are worshipping the temple, they are worshipping the temple, not harming the anybody. But why these peoples are criticizing the Hindus' god? This is the treacherous and heinous crime by so-called these peoples, and this is the leftists or Marxism is means dead ideology. These people are dead, and even many Muslim so-called many Muslim scholars, as Javed Akhtar described that Aurangzeb was very honest king, that, or he was very thrifty. He was not miser but a thrifty king, because he issued so many caps for after death of his coffin. But this is not true. If he was so thrifty, then why he built a mosque or makbara of his dead wife, who belonged to the Iran, the Safavid dynasty of the Iran? So this is not good. One side you can earn millions of rupees, and the other side you are suing the cap for his coffin, for coffin. This is only the this is as a cunningness. This is known as a cunningness. Aurangzeb was a very weak person. He never went to Banaras. He never went to Banaras. He went north side of the Banaras, and when he go to the Bihar, he went to the Bihar. There is no link between the story of Aurangzeb and destruction of the temple at that time. By this, that a queen of Kash, Hindu queen, went to bath in the Ganges river in Kashi Vishwanath temple, and she was abducted or kidnapped by the priest of the temple. This is a very, very, very fabricated story because the camp of Mirza Jaising or encamped on the river Ganga 20 miles from the north from to the Banaras means somewhat at the direction of the Ghazipur as you see in the map of the India or UP. You can see that there is a long distance between Ghazipur and Banaras, and the Ghazipur situated on the north side of the Banaras or Banarsi Banaras. So Kashi Vishwanath temple definitely was ordered to destruct by the Aurangzeb. This is the fabricated story that a queen was molested by the priest. If suppose this was truth, then why Aurangzeb did not kill any priest who molested the queen? And there you see, any priest can dare to molest the queen in the reign of Aurangzeb when these queens were along with the Aurangzeb army with the Mirza Jaising, because the most powerful most powerful most powerful Mughal of that time and the most powerful Rajput at that time of the Jaipur Rajput, because they are bound the greasing or they are the slaved by the Aurangzeb. So these are all fabricated stories, and I think Vaman Mesram and many other people who supposedly called them as a Buddhist. But the problem for worshipping in the temples by the Hindus, even Mahatma Buddha, which they are Mahatma Buddha, which they are following the Buddha or Buddhist cult, Buddhist not a religion, because Lord Buddha never say that this is the religion. Even Buddha never criticized the Ram, Krishna, Vedas. And why these people are criticizing the Hindus? What is the problem with the Hindu worship or Hindu type of worship? They are worship, but they are not harming anybody. And why these peoples keep mum when the Islamic doctrine came into forward to crush the Hindus and their sentiments? According to a historian, Siraji, a Iranian historian, he told in his book Wasaf that as well as the Mughals became much richer, the Hindus became much poorer. All the Hindus were killed, and just like the blood of the Hindus looked like a fountain of the waters, and the water mingled with the rivers and creating a very, very filthy purview or very, very uh, horrible purview, and so many Hindus were killed by these fanatic Muslims, and this is why the Javed AKHTAR are now escorting the Aurangzeb, who sew the cap, stitching the cap. This is only the fabricated and this is the cunningness of the Aurangzeb. Then if he was so thrifty, then why he built the Bibi ka Maqbara in Aurangabad, the hard-earned wealth of the Hindus as taken by jizya by the Muslims as a Gunda tax or extra tax, as in India, Daud Ibrahim committed the same heinous crime and the Chota Rajan and so many all. No question of an Hindu or Muslims, but jizya is taken from the Hindus only or the non-Muslim only. So this is the treacherousness and heinous crime was committed by Aurangzeb. And you see Asuddin Owaisi and Azam Khan, why these people are not understanding that their ancestors were Hindus, and if you are abusing Hindus, you are abusing your ancestors. When you do not pay respect or pay homage to your ancestor, Hindu ancestor, then it seems you are very, very illiterate, uneducated, or we can say zahil or stupid, and or your stupidity is still reflects in your commencement and in your speeches everywhere in India. Even Javed Akhtar, supposed to be a thinker, supposed to be a intellectual, but he is not. He is very silly fellow. He does not know what is wrong and right, and he is also advocating the wrong aspect of the Aurangzeb. Why he did not tell the Aurangzeb was a goon who took the extortion tax, Gunda tax as jizya tax, and so many temples were destroyed by this goon. He was the invader. But for the Javed Akhtar, he is a very good person, and Javed Akhtar described in his speeches, in his television interview, that the economy at the time of Aurangzeb was too much high level. It is true that economy in India was too much at high level, but this is only the trialing of the Hindus, because extortion tax jizya was collected by majority of Hindus, and Hindus were very hard earning people. And you see, the any Muslim even did not know how to plow, how to tilt the land. You see, only the pharaohs, only the fallah in the Misr, the farmer was very hard earning person, people, but they were not Muslim, because these fallahs was alive since from the very beginning, or long ago before the Islam. So any Muslim even did not know how to plow the land and how to tilt the seed in the ground, because the land of Arabic Peninsula and the where the Islam was introduced by the open mind or open brain of the Prophet Muhammad Sahib, because there was no Allah. This is the brain of Muhammad is only Allah, and uh, Allah is the spring, or is Allah is the Allah is the hypothesis by the brain of the Messiah. There is no Allah at that time, and due to this Allah, all the India were devastated or distorted by these fanatic Muslim kings. And you see, if now let us see that what type of the temples were destroyed in India. In North India, you will never find a single temple who which is old temple, because all old temples were either destroyed or either converted to the mosques, madrasas, or the shrines. You see, Adhai Din Ka Jhonpda in Ajmer was destructed and made a mosque, Adhai Din Ka Jhonpda, after destructing the destructing the Hindu or Jain temples, because Hindu and Jain temples are alike, and there is no distinction between Hindu or Jain temples. Both are the same. And in the same time, you see in the Qutub Minar, that is known as Vishnu Islam, was destructed by the Muslims, and this was the pillar for the Jain and the Hindu sculptures. So you see, and same Kesavrai temple and so many temples were destroyed, and the Somnath temple were destroyed by these fanatic Muslims, because Prophet Muhammad Sahib himself destroyed the 360 statue or 360 statue in the Kaaba, which were worshipped by the pagans. You know, the Arabs were also a polytheist before inception of Islam, and many other local people or local tribe had their own religion or worship places. But the destruction, the Kaaba was first by Prophet Muhammad Sahib. This is why Muhammad Sahib has to go to the Medina to save his life. because the Prophet Muhammad activities did commit so many sins or so many crime that due to their ideology or the doctrine of Islam, the Hindus are too much sufferer in this country. And Mr. Suddin Owaisi say Babri Masjid is will was this is not a logic, because the Islam practically is a ideology for looting the kafir wells and rape with the kafir women, and this is known as a malik ganima. And this ideology also allowed to kill the kafirs. So this ideology totally differ from the humanity, and humanity, where is humanity there is no Islam, and if there is Islam there is no humanity. Humanity cannot be synonymous of Islam, but humanity can be anonymous of Islam, you can say in the second word. So we see that all the temples were destroyed due to the only fanatic ideology of Islam, and many peoples were killed due to only the fanatic doctrine, violent doctrine of Islam against Kafir. And you see, when the Temurlang came to India, he separated the Muslim from the Hindus in Loni fort nearby the Delhi. This is known as the capital of the Lavanasur, a demon at the time of Lord Krishna. And he separated the Muslim from the Hindus, and he killed all the Muslims, and he wrote in his book that I have killed all the Kafirs. And this this uh, this land is now free from the Kafirs. This land for holy for the Muslims only. This is the theology or doctrine of Islam. And what is the problem? These Vaman Misram and Soni people who always criticizing the Hinduism and their worship. And some people says when the BJP won in Muradnagar and any Muradnagar in Ghaziabad, one my colleague say Hindu are the coward, or Hindu are fear of for the religion. This is why the BJP won. When I asked him, if you are Buddhist, you do not worship, you do not ever worship for Buddha, then what is problem with you with Hindus? This is our fundamental right. What have we have to worship? But this is not the fundamental right of any Muslim to create havoc or nuisance, or any Buddhist and criticize our worship and our worship tradition. Who are you? So please let us see first Pipini your doctrine of Islam, and Mr. AKHTAR and Mr. Asuddin Owaisi, Javed Akhtar Asuddin Owaisi, either they are taking cocaine or marijuana, or either they are stupid or foolish. So they are screaming just that the Aurangzeb was a very kind-hearted and he was very thrifty. Then why he wasted so much money to win the Maharashtra? And ultimately he was unsuccessful for this, and he was died in Aurangabad at the age of 88 on 3rd March 107,007 AD, 1707 in Hindi. So this is the total verdict of the Islam, and the supporters of Islam. These are stupid, foolish fellow. Why these are not going to open debate on the Quran and Islam? They are only screaming Hindu Muslim, Hindu Muslim. BJP is not screaming the Hindu Muslim, Hindu Muslim, but the Islamic doctrine, Quran verses are screaming very loudly that these are kafir, we are Muslims, we are superior. The Hindus and Christians are inferior to us. They are not even a human being. They are below than the beast, khanzir or pig or the dogs. So they are deaf, dumb. What type of this stupidity? And this is the cult. This is the cult, and this is the character of a prophet. He looted the wealth of the Kafirs. He raped with the Kafirs woman, Maria Ki Batariya. He was a sex slave, lonely of Muhammad Sahib. This is the character of Muhammad Sahib. 10 wives, and even 6-year-old wife Aisha was married to Muhammad Saw at the age of the 54. And when she was only 9, he was consummated by the 57-year-old man. You see, biological science does not allow this. This is the this is the rape. This was the rape committed by the Muhammad Saw. So, in the last, I would like to say that Hindu is much tolerant. This is why the Asuddin Owaisi and Javed Akhtar and so many more are screaming against the Hindus. Otherwise, they have no dare to say anything, even a single word against the Hindus. And it is our duty, Hindus. Please don't bear such type of stupidity and foolishness from the Javed Akhtar and Asuddin Owaisi. If they are screaming against Hindus and its ideology, many FIRs must be in all the states in India, so we can teach them as a lesson. They are only screaming to hide out the heinous crime, extortion, gunda tax, jizya, or on Gulism of Islam only. This is why they are diverting the intention of Hindus. In the last, I would like to say that please subscribe my channel and वंदे मातरम. गुड बाय, सी यू अगेन. आपका रविवार शुभ हो. वेरी गुड, वेरी हैप्पी Sunday to you and your family and my Momin brothers also, because they are not wrong, but the which doctrine they are following, the Islamic doctrine, is wrong.